Hello, my name is Austin Ritchie. I'm a Mustang enthusiast, a car mechanic, and an expert in the car restoration business. And today I want to talk about the Ford EcoBoost motors and how they can maintain reliability, eco-friendliness, and performance. Speaking of that performance part, there's a common theme going around the car community that there's no replacement for displacement, but today we're going to show you how advanced technologies used in these motors is going to bust that myth. So, our first slide here, this is a current lineup of Ford's vehicles that actually have EcoBoost motors available for them, all the way from the small Ford Fiesta to the performance-driven Mustang to the large F-150 and Expedition models, and lots of vehicles in between. In this next slide, we're going to jump into some examples of what Ford does in their EcoBoost motors that makes them so advanced. So here we see the 3.5 liter V6 EcoBoost, and here we actually have our valve covers taken off and our front of our engine taken off, so we can actually see the cam shafts here and the sprockets on the end. And so this has to do with the variable valve time, which we'll go into more detail later with examples. And on the right we have the 1.6 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged EcoBoost motor, and there we can actually see the direct injection straight into the cylinder. On the next slide, we're actually going to see a demonstration of the twin turbochargers. They're on the 2.7 liter EcoBoost motor. We can see one here and one here. Our next slide. So to start off with variable valve timing, what we need to know is that this is not a new technology that Ford developed. It's actually been around for quite a long time. It goes by multiple names such as FCA's Multi-Air, Mitsubishi's MIVEC, and Honda's VTEC. And so these technologies have been around, and of course these are all just examples of them used with just that. And of course part of what makes Ford's EcoBoost motor so great is that they use this combined with this next technology, which is direct injection. So this is an example of a Kia Optima actually that has the badge GDI, gasoline direct injection, and so we'll go into more detail about what that is. And finally, we have turbocharged vehicles, and so these have been around a while also. I just put a couple examples of some common turbocharged vehicles like the Nissan GTR, the Ford Focus RS, and the Evo X from Mitsubishi. In our next slide, we're going to go ahead and go into more detail about what variable valve timing is. And essentially, in a vehicle, of course you have a cylinder, which is a combustion chamber, and so to seal that up to actually get an explosion to happen, we need a couple things to happen first. First we have our intake valves, which we can see over here, and so those are open and closed thousands of times per minute, and so those opening and closing along with the exhaust valves, which pulls the gases out, are controlled by what are called camshafts. And so back in the day there was just a set timing for these valves. You could not adjust them at all. And so now with variable valve timing, you can essentially adjust the timing per se, so you can have less intake and less exhaust, or more opening if you want more power or less power, if you're per se idling, just cruising down, or if you're matted to the wood full throttle, then you can adjust the power. On our next slide, we're going to see direct injection and how that works. And so essentially before, you would actually mix the gasoline with the air in the intake manifold, and that would use up a lot more gas, as you're not really sure how much. You could estimate how much gasoline is getting mixed together, but it's not as precise. And so here with direct injection, it is a higher pressure system, but we can control precisely how much fuel, and this takes up around 15% less greenhouse gas emissions and around up to 30% less fuel. And finally, our last technology we're going to use here is turbochargers. These have also been around for a while, as seen in those other vehicles. Essentially what this takes is the exhaust gases that come out of your tailpipe. We can use those to spin a turbine to actually create boost to feed your engine more air, so that we can add more fuel and have a lot more power out of these smaller motors. And so Ford combines the variable valve timing, the direct injection, and the turbochargers, all that can idle very smoothly and cruise along, not have to use the turbochargers to increase the power. You can use those smaller motors just to cruise along. And then when you're having to pass somebody, or if you're towing a trailer per se, we can kick in that direct injection with the extra fuel, the turbochargers to give the extra air, and you get all the performance you need. And so now you guys can be able to talk about these EcoBoost motors if you ever get to ride one, see the power difference, see the fuel economy difference, and finally see it in your wallet. And of course, Mother Earth enjoys it more. So that's all I have for today. You guys have a good one.